Right then, we are heading out to Qatar for the entire World Cup. I've got Ronaldo with me for the first couple of weeks, so we'll be doing XG files out there. We're going to be doing match day 360 style content. We'll be doing all sorts of behind the scenes from everything that we're doing with Five, and we'll be giving you a little bit about what that country's about as well. So keep it locked to the channel. Make sure to subscribe because there is all sorts coming your way. You cannot talk about a World Cup without talking about Brazil. Brazil are perhaps like the quintessential World Cup team. They have a grand and illustrious World Cup history, winning the tournament 5 times. It's the most any nation has won it. It's perhaps one of the reasons why we always associate World Cups with Brazil. Doing it in 58, 62, 70, 94, and 2002. And it's somehow been 20 years since their last victory. Is this the time that they're going to add another star to that famous yellow shirt? I actually think they've got a very good chance of doing that. They look like a real threat at this World Cup. And England are on course to play them in the semi-finals, should England manage to scrape their way through there. And you could say that Brazil is very much of the sleeping giant sort of nature of where they're at in terms of development. If they wake up in the Qatar World Cup, they could comfortably win this thing. They could comfortably win this thing. And they're in good form. They reached the final of the Copa America and they lost 1-0. But I think some might say they were outplayed by Argentina. And I think Argentina are another team with a hell of a shout for this. But we all know with the quality that they've got up front, and even defensively, they've been quality. They've only conceded 4 goals in the whole of 2021. England conceded 3 in one game against Germany. If Brazil turn up, they're probably one of the favourites to win this thing. In terms of key players, they're, as usual, littered with stars. Neymar, Vinicius, Casemiro. And they've a long list of class, experienced players littering the ranks. I mean, even the players that didn't go for Brazil raise an eyebrow for a lot of people. If we look at Neymar at the moment, Neymar's been unreal this season. He's been tearing up the French league. He's got 15 goals and 12 assists in 19 games. I'm going to say that again, because I don't think some of you were listening. 15 goals, 12 assists, 19 games. How many times have you seen a player pulling those sorts of numbers? In the World Cup qualifiers, in 10 games, Neymar managed to score 8 goals and he got another 8 assists. That's right. 8 goals, 8 assists in 10 games. He's doing it for both club and for country. He was one of the best players in the Copa America last season and he made it into the team of the tournament. And now he's got players around him that can make him thrive. The very informed Vinicius Junior. And Vinicius is another very dangerous attacker from Brazil. Vinicius has been one of the best performers in La Liga this season. And I don't know if people are quite aware of how good he's been. He burst onto the scene in the 2021 season. And then he followed that up with 17 league goals and 13 assists on top of that last season. He's been absolutely class in the Champions League, danced around Manchester City, looked like he can be a dangerous player every single time he steps out onto the pitch. And when you pair him with Neymar up top, you've got a problem and you've got to figure out how you're going to deal with this. I cannot imagine Harry Maguire coming up against those two and dealing with that in any way, shape or form. I think he would work really well with the quality players on both wings, as well as making someone that could be a bit more of a playmaker up front. Attacking fullbacks in Telles and Danilo would supply Vinicius all day long. You've got Casemiro and Fabinho, very similar players in the way that they play, but both were and probably still are considered up there with the best, if not the best in the world in their positions. Fabinho hasn't had the best of seasons, so I think it's more likely that Casemiro will play. But could you even play them together? If you're looking for a more pragmatic Brazil, could that be the platform to build that upon? Both are proven players. Casemiro is a veteran of the game. He's won 5 Champions League titles. He's smashing the Premier League at the moment as well. And it seems every other trophy you can think of is in Casemiro's trophy cabinet. Can he add this one? They're probably going to be the rocks at which Brazil base everything off. And we know how Brazil play. Creativity and flair. Players capable of taking the game and changing it themselves. The skill combined with the technical quality of the midfield. And even the defenders. they've got the perfect mix. They have midfielders that can pick passes, probably passes not a lot of people think of, creative playmakers, Paqueta, Bruno, even the holding midfielders. They will supply the forwards. Nearly every forward for Brazil is in form and thriving. That's a massive thing for them coming into this tournament. They're not hoping someone can get a bit of the rub of the green and just start scoring. These lads are already scoring. Their attack is one of the biggest strengths of Brazil. And they've got two of the best goalkeepers in the world to top that off as well. Ederson's distribution, Alisson's shot stopping, whatever they prefer to go with, they'll be fine and they'll be in capable hands. The weakness is probably the personnel in the back four. They aren't as defensively sound as they used to be. Thiago Silva's starting to show his age. Brazil don't really have another centre-half that's capable of stepping in and taking over from that. The fullbacks probably don't have quite the defensive ability. And Brazil's not known for that anyway, really. But you see Telles, Danilo, Sandro. These aren't the level of some of the Brazilian fullbacks that we've seen in the past. And obviously Brazil prefers them to have a lot more attacking roles. While they have quality players in midfield, they don't have a hell of a lot of depth in that area. There's maybe 2 or 3 good players in front of your Fabinho and Casemiro, Paqueta, Bruno Guimaraes. After that, it's probably Fred. This holiday season, I'll be giving thanks to our friends over at Manscaped and the return of football's biggest stage. My pride for my Dong squad and my country have never been stronger since Manscaped upgraded my grooming game with the ultimate men's hygiene bundle. Avoid a Marouane Fellaini bush in your midfield and clean up your midsection with Manscaped. And join over 7 million men worldwide who trust Manscaped with this exclusive offer by going to manscaped.com. Use code Howson20 and getting free shipping and 20% off. Get amongst it. And obviously, in terms of United players, they've got Antony, Casemiro and Fred, 2 of which probably make the starting lineup. And on Antony, obviously, one of the first players for a long time to bring real flair back to Manchester United. He scored in each of his first 3 league games for United, scoring against Liverpool and Arsenal, not scared of the big game. Pressure doesn't seem to show with him. The Brazilian nature to entertain and to take people on hasn't skipped over Antony. He's got that. And with that, I think the perfect fit alongside Vinicius and Neymar makes a very, very deadly forward 3. Perhaps one of the best forward 3s at the competition. We've already spoke about Casemiro, but slow start for United, and then improved, and then just owned that position. World-class ability. Brazil have a very, very solid midfielder on their hands, and a very solid midfielder with the experience of winning cup competitions. His all-round play is going to be perfect for Brazil. They're in dire need of defensive ability and someone to help screen that back line. It might be his last World Cup. Or certainly his last World Cup as a starter. So I think he's going to be looking to make a big impact at this. And then there's Fred. Not a whole lot of hope or excitement for Fred at the minute. And he probably doesn't deserve to start for Brazil, but they might need him out of sheer lack of depth in and around the squad. And if they're up against a team that maybe they require a bit more energy, as we know, bringing Fred on, cut about the place, see a game out, might be something that they look to. And he's actually, to be fair to Fred, he's actually looked good at international football. I think it might be the pace of the Premier League which maybe stuns him. But it's going to be hot out there. And I don't think the pace of the games will be the same as we see in the Premier League. So I would expect that slower tempo to make Fred stand out a little bit. Certainly with the players around him in Brazil. And it's hard not to put Brazil as favourites in this for the whole World Cup. This will be one of their best chances in a long time to do so. And Neymar's at his prime. Casemiro, Fabinho are, around their peak, shall we say. They've got a fairly well-balanced team, perhaps maybe a little bit on the weaker side in terms of the defence. But this could be a very positive tournament for Brazil. And I certainly mark them down as one of my favourites and certainly one of my tips to be at least in the semi-final stage. I can probably just give you the people I think will make the semi-finals because after that, you need a bit of luck, a little bit of form, and someone that gets a bit of a streak going. they're going to be looking to go all out attack. I don't know if they've got the capabilities to play on the back foot. I don't know if they've got the personnel or even the mentality to play on the back foot and be pragmatic. Brazil could either be massively successful and entertaining going for the throat, or they could be embarrassingly bad at the back. But I think they've got enough in midfield and the forward area to be potent. Let me know in the comments. Where does this Brazil finish? Does it end up with the trophy? See you in the next one. Hey, thank you for watching the video. If you are new around these parts, then don't forget to subscribe. My channel is proudly supported by my community on Patreon. If you'd like to get a little bit of extra content, a Discord group, meetups, five-a-side games, weekly podcasts, behind the scenes, and even an occasional bit of transfer news as and when I get it, then for the price of a pint, you can show your appreciation for the content that we make and get some goodies for doing so as well. Check the link in the description or click the button right here. You'll also find all of my socials here too if you want to follow me on any of those platforms. Nice one.